All right, we are live once again here, locked in the dungeon. What's up, everybody? I am Frank Red. This is the In the Dungeon program, broadcasting live from the Dungeon Studios. And it is a pleasure and an honor to be on air to talk to you about what's going on in the world of sports. We'll also touch on maybe a couple of movies. I've gone to a couple of movies since we last did it in the Dungeon show, and usually this time of year, the studios release some of their best movies because of the Oscar nominations coming out within the next couple of weeks, a month or so. So we're going to talk about some of the movies that I saw. I had opportunity to see The Iron Claw. It's under the umbrella of wrestling, and for those of you who are wrestling fans, I'm sure you are, familiar with this particular movie and some of the tragedies that happened to this particular family. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was more about togetherness and children having to deal with family drama, being loyal, a mother's love. I thought it was so much more than just wrestling. So if you're interested in what I think is a pretty good story, a tragic story that is real, check out The Iron Claw. Let me know what you think. All right. The other movie that I saw was Ferrari. And I don't know a lot about cars. I obviously know what a Ferrari is, but I didn't know the story of Enzo Ferrari, the brilliant engineer who started the company along with his wife, and what that was all about. And, I'll talk about that movie towards the tail end of the show. But first and foremost, I just want to thank you guys for supporting the In the Dungeon show. The last time that I did a show seems like 2-3 weeks, but it was actually 1 week. And I got on air, and I don't know what had occurred, but I wasn't feeling real well. And I ended the show a little earlier because my head was hurting. I was drowsy. I didn't have the level of energy that I normally have. And I was like, wow. So I went to the doctor, and I knew something was up. I was like, well, maybe they'll give me some antibiotics, and that'll be it. Luckily, I took some stuff with me, took my computer and some other things that I need, and they said to me, you ain't going nowhere, dude. You're going to be right here with us. And wind up staying 3 days in the hospital. For a multitude of reasons that I don't really need to get into. But needless to say, I have a clean bill of health. I feel fantastic. And luckily, because I was leaving anyway, I wasn't going to spend Christmas in the hospital. That was not going to happen. So by the grace of God and everybody out there who's looking out for me, things worked out. Blood transfusions, a couple other things, but I feel fantastic. I really do. And I only share this with you because I want you all to be very meticulous when it comes to your health. And men sometimes are hesitant to listen to the signs. You know what I'm saying? I think women, and maybe I'm stereotyping, but I think women are more sensitive to their bodies, and they're more apt to seek out support, maybe from their girlfriends or their male friends or whomever. But they just seem a little smarter when it comes to their own personal health. Men, not so much. And as we get older, our bodies change. We're not doctors. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Be afraid of not going to the doctor to seek out information when you're not doing very well. I've had some things in the past that has helped me deal with any trepidation that I might have of going to the doctor. I'll go, because I know some of the signs. I know when my body's not completely right. And, again, I share this information with you because the In the Dungeon show is so much more than just talking about sports. It's helping each other. It's looking out for each other. It's sharing information for free. Not expecting anything in return. It's really, technology has grown to the point where it's incredible that we can do this whenever we want to. And I had an episode where I needed to go to the doctor. I got the help that I needed. And now I'm doing well. And I just want everybody out there listening to the program to take heed to my advice. If you are the person who, no, I don't need to go to the doctor. I'm doing fine. Go to the doctor. All right. There you go. My name is Frank Red. If you're listening for the first time, this is the In the Dungeon show. And we usually do it on Sunday nights, and we'll pop in maybe a day or two throughout the week. If there's something interesting that needs to be talked about, we will come on here and talk about it. Sports related, but sometimes there's an intersection with what's happening in society that is important, that needs to be talked about, and we'll do so. But I'm also a screenwriter. I'm a screenwriter. I love movies. I love the art. I'm also a rapper. For those who don't know, I am a rapper as well. So I make music. We talk hip hop. But I'm fascinated by film. I really am. So, like I said, I just went and saw the movie Ferrari that was made by the great Michael Mann, who, again, when I hear the name Michael Mann, it's like hearing Gangstar, the hip hop group Gangstar, R.I.P. Guru. I never had to think about if I heard the new single from Gangstar. Didn't matter. I was going to go buy the album. That's the level of trust that I had for DJ Premier and Keefe E, the Guru. And Michael Mann, the first time I saw his movie Heat, I was sold. There's certain movies that I can watch literally all the time. I don't care when they come on, I can watch that movie in its entirety. Heat is one of those movies. Maybe we have a topic, just like an ad hoc topic. What's one movie that you can watch whenever it comes on television? Another movie that I can watch is The Fugitive. Whenever The Fugitive comes on with Harrison Ford, I'm there. I have my favorite Jason Bourne movies, but I can watch all of them. When they come on, I just watch those movies. And found myself like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, turned on the channel, and lo and behold, the first Equalizer was on with Denzel Washington. And I'm sure the Equalizers will be one of those movie trilogies that I can watch all the time. So I got some guilty pleasures out there as well. The Devil Wears Prada. Yeah, for some reason, that movie has so much heart. Meryl Streep was so cold and so brilliant in her portrayal of the fashion mogul that I can watch that as well. All right. A little bit about me. What about you? You got some comments. Go to the comment section and let me know. My man, Immortals Ride With Me. He says, Heat is definitely one of the great movies. He says, Michael Mann really had the actors learn how to use those firearms. I think they trained with Navy SEALs. Yeah, they were, outstanding, man. Yeah. Nah, that's how you do it, Immortal. If you're going to, do something great that's going to stand the test of time, why not put that work in, right? Yeah, Michael Mann is incredible. Big fan of his. And I would love to see some type of Heat iteration, maybe like a Heat prequel, if they could find the right actors, because you don't want to screw that up. You don't want to mess that up. Or like, I don't know, some iteration of Heat 20 years later, not with the same characters per se, for obvious reasons. But I would like to see him tell that story again. I think it was so interesting, and he's such a brilliant director. It'd be interesting to see what Michael Mann could do with that. But he did a fantastic job in Ferrari, and I'll get into that a little later. Oh, he is making part 2. Wow, okay. I'd heard some rumblings, but if that's going to happen, that is fantastic. Looking forward to that then. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos today, heard a lot of commentary on the San Francisco 49ers versus the Baltimore Ravens. Game took place last night. I'm going to say that it lived up to the billing in terms of the interest. And it was captivating to watch two of the better teams in the NFL. I mean, depending upon what side of the football field you are on, then maybe you have a different perspective. But seeing the best of the best that the NFC has to offer from the 49ers versus the best that the AFC has to offer in the Ravens, that was good to see. Immortal says Adam Driver, who played Ferrari, is played Pacino's character. Okay. I don't quite understand that. But Enzo Ferraro was Adam Driver played. Glendocious, what's up? Merry Christmas and happy holidays, Frank. May God grant you a prosperous new year. How about that? Glendocious, know what prosperous is for me, brother? As long as I got good health, I'm winning. I'm winning every day. You know, I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, you know, a couple of days ago, who actually has a little money. But I don't really, you know, which is different from me. I don't really care about money. And I mean, I care about it in the sense that we need to use it. It has a purpose. And I'm not poor. I have more money than I need. But I'm not into like things, you know. I'm into people and experiences and moments and using money to enrich other people's lives. That's what I love to do. You know, I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch, it was kind of the Twilight Zone, but it wasn't a Twilight Zone. And it was a show about how this man would kind of have like these random stories, right? And every show, he would kind of jump into this world of this family that was in need for whatever reason. And by the end of the show, he would give them the money that they needed to change their lives. And even as a kid, growing up, I mean, we were poor. We wasn't like poverty stricken, but we were poor. My mother we had enough, but we lived in the hood. But even as a young kid, I was always captivated by the power of what money could do to enrich the lives of others. And in my life now, my greatest joy is seeing people happy by giving them something that they deserve, not something that they don't deserve, something that they don't expect. Imagine giving somebody something that they don't expect and seeing their eyes light up. It's called an existential experience. The existential experience is, logically, you would think that the person who is on the receiving end of whatever is being given would be happier. But the reality is, the real experience comes from the person who is giving. Pretty deep, right? I actually learned that. I'd already felt that, but I learned that. I actually was able to define that in grad school by one of my brilliant professors who told me what that was about. I had never experienced it before. But yeah, I love to do that. I love to give things to people and see them be happy. And I love to receive too, but I'm not a big money guy. All right. San Francisco 49ers came back down to earth in the minds of many of their fans. They lost 33-19 to the Baltimore Ravens. And what I did not want to hear was either people defending Brock Purdy, who threw 4 picks, had a horrible game, or people piling on telling the world how bad he was. I mean, come on. He's way past that. Brock Purdy is a very good quarterback, one of the top third quarterbacks in the NFL. If you look at the system that he's playing in, there might not be a quarterback in the NFL who could perform better in his system. That's not quite my criteria for evaluating quarterbacks, though. When I look at quarterbacks, I ask the question, can they perform in any system? When you do that, Brock Purdy's probably a top 10 quarterback. But I don't like to hear people feeling that they have to defend him because they've been overboard in praise or overboard in knocking him. He had a bad game. He's going through the process. Just like Lamar Jackson did 3-4 years ago. Lamar looked like that dude last night. He really did. But yeah, if you want to talk about the game, Baltimore, like the 49ers, they have an identity. And they draft to their identity. They have 3 of the smartest players at their positions in the NFL. Marlon Humphrey, DB out of Alabama. Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame. And Roquan Smith, the middle linebacker out of Georgia. All of them are like what? Top 3 players at their position, top 5? Excellent. And any team that puts heat on Brock Purdy is going to have an opportunity to give the 49ers some problems. Which is why I said I want to see Trent Williams get a ceremonial MVP vote. I think he deserves it. Because when he is in the lineup with the 49ers and he's protecting Brock Purdy's blind side, they're different. They're real different. But when Trent Williams is not in there, or if some of the other offensive linemen are impaired and they can get to Brock, he goes down, man. The game changes. It's also why I thought when we start talking about MVPs, to me, the MVP of the 49ers is Christian McCaffrey. It's not even a question. He's the one player that I don't know if you can stop Deebo when he gets the ball or Kittle, but Christian McCaffrey has the look of a guy who could basically do what he's doing with the 49ers in any system as long as he's not hurt. His bugaboo was injuries. And literally, since he's come to the 49ers, he's been really, really healthy. From your perspective, does this change how you view the 49ers? Or are you of the mindset that this is just one game? I try to get the emotion out of it and just kind of look at what I see. I think any team that can rush the quarterback and put heat on the 49ers level the playing field a little bit. If you give Brock Purdy a clean pocket, he's going to kill you. It's simple as that. He is going to hurt you. Now, from the Baltimore Ravens perspective, They're really, really good, but they play on the East Coast. So weather probably is going to be a factor, right? So from that standpoint, it wouldn't surprise me if in 2 weeks Baltimore lost to Pittsburgh. And one of those, mano a mano, running in the mud, raining, cold, windy. Weather is a factor on the East Coast in football. Not so much on the West Coast where it's beautiful, green grass, 65 degrees. So we don't know what's going to happen. Aesthetically, when you look at the Ravens, they look like the best team to me. But we don't know how weather's going to factor in. We just don't know. I'm sorry. Gledolce says, my favorite movie of all time is Matrix Part 1 and 2. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Those are two great movies. No doubt about it. Like with the 49ers too, a sneaky good game, I think, is going to be against the Rams in a couple of weeks. You could argue that Matthew Stafford is playing as well as any quarterback in the NFL. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to get loose against that bolted 49er defense, because he's balling. They got a good running game, and it's going to be tight down the stretch. It really is. You look at Seattle. Seattle's good. The Rams are good. The 49ers are good. So the 49ers are obviously going to win that division, but could they stumble again down the road? SG, what's up, brother? How you doing? Thanks for stepping in. I was happy to see Philly kind of right the ship a little bit. Because they had not been playing well. And losing 4 in a row for them would have been brutal. But Jalen did what he does. He's miraculous. And that pass that he threw to A.J. Brown for 32 yards when it was like, 3rd and 30, that was a big-time play. That might have saved their season, to be quite honest with you. As she said, my mother got me a pair of Beat Studio Pro headphones for Christmas. Man, that's awesome, dude. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. Raider fans, I've been thinking about the Antonio Pierce deal also. And I always try to look beyond the surface of a discussion. When Josh McDaniels got fired and Antonio Pierce was named the head coach, it was kind of surprising because nobody had really heard his name being bandied about. Now, was he qualified? Absolutely. He was a head coach at Cal Poly, one of the best high schools in the nation, Long Beach. He coached under Herm Edwards, for a couple of years at Arizona State. And he's a Super Bowl winner. He might have made an All-Pro. I don't know if he's been All-Pro or not. But he played for the Giants, he played for the Redskins, and was a Super Bowl winner. So you know he has leadership skills up the yin-yang. And I was happy for him because a lot of times at all levels, we tend to make things more complicated than they actually are. The Raiders needed a spark. They needed somebody to make sure that everyone was being held accountable. And Antonio Pierce has done that. A lot of times to the casual fan, the media, the people representing the NFL make you think that you need a PhD to be a head football coach. You got to be some offensive wizard. You have to be some guy who creates some algorithm on defense that no one else has. And it's ridiculous. I've always talked about sports, and I said sports are actually very simple. Sports are simple, but it's hard to do the simple things well. Sports are simple, but it's hard to do the simple things well and consistently. That's what's hard. SG says Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers got wrecked by the Ravens 33-19, and Brock had fought. Okay, so are you telling us something that we don't know, or what? What in that statement was new information? Hey Frank, I would love to learn to speak Italian because that's such a romantic language, especially among women. I didn't know you were romantic. Oh yeah? Good for you, dude. English works pretty good as well. Unless you just plan on, I don't know, focusing your energy on people who only speak Italian. But yeah, the Raiders play Indianapolis next, and then they play the Denver Broncos at home. I think he's done enough already to be brought back next year as the head coach. I mean, because he's shown that he can lead men. Now, have they been a little lucky? Yeah, they've been a little lucky. They have. Has Aiden O'Connell been a little lucky? Yeah, he has. Does he look like he could be a decent NFL backup? Possibly. Who eventually becomes a starter. I wouldn't be real excited lining up next year, game one, with Aiden O'Connell as my starting quarterback. You know, if I had a 1-year deal, like I mean, people get funny. When they have to write a check, people get funny sometimes. And when you look at all the money that Mark Davis is paying Josh McDaniels, maybe some other coaches, I don't think he's going to open up the checkbook real wide, which is maybe why Antonio Pierce, and it sucks because watching Antonio Pierce have to take less. Why? Because he's not in a good negotiating position. And if he doesn't get the job, you could argue that that's even worse. You know, if Jim Harbaugh wants that job and Mark Davis is infatuated with him, he's going to get a big check regardless. So I always start thinking about like the underdog, man. I remember the first time I got my first head coaching job. I mean, literally, you could have jumped on my back and I could have given you a trip to the moon. A varsity head coaching job, your first one? No is not in your vocabulary most of the time. Yes. And you look at a guy like Antonio Pierce, I'm not in his pocket, but he was very much a workman-like player. He's probably in line to make more money as a head football coach now than he made as a player. I don't know. But these coaches are signing for big money. And if he's going to be your guy, if you really believe in him, then shouldn't he be offered a contract that resembles his peers? This is weird. Frank, I prefer you to be clean shaven. Wow. Are you one of those guys? one of those people who like get these cards or these emails from like Channel 5 or Channel 7 and you're critiquing like the weather girl or the news anchor? Are you one of those people? I don't care. I mean, listen, I'm not a model. I know that. You know, if you talk to my mother, she'll say that I mean, I'm the best looking guy on the internet. Give me a break. I knew you were. I'm one of those people. I know you were. Yeah. But what if people critique you? Huh? You're funny, dude. The Golden State Warriors, I think, represented themselves pretty well on Christmas Day. They lost, I believe, 118 to 114 to the world champion Denver Nuggets. But that was only part of the story. I think that there were so many other subplots to the Warriors, I think, competing on a very, very high level with the Denver Nuggets and giving Steve Kerr an opportunity to do some intel for the next time that they play the Nuggets. And beyond that, if they match up in the playoffs. From a fan's perspective, what did you think? Did you say to yourself, oh, this Warrior team could actually play with the Nuggets? In spite of the size difference, I think that we have enough to compete with this team and possibly beat them in a series. Or did you say to yourself, we're in trouble? I like the Warriors roster. I really do. There was so much talk about what they didn't have, but I like the flexibility of this roster. I also like the fact that not that this team will say they don't need Draymond Green, because I think with Draymond, they're better. But they can function without him. I think that's clear now. And what I'm thinking about is, how does that affect his behavior when he comes back? How does that affect the decision makers' perspective when Draymond comes back? From a basketball perspective, because helping Draymond become the best person that he can be is a totally different conversation than how do we insert him back into the basketball family. What is his role? Does he start right away? Does he come off the bench? Are there parameters in place that he's going to have to deal with in terms of behavior on the court and off the court? I think about all those things because it's interesting to me. The Warriors got something going on right now. You don't win 5 straight games, and people will say, well, they didn't play against anybody. The Boston Celtics came out to the West Coast and ran roughshod over everybody except the Golden State Warriors. And don't tell me that Porzingis didn't play. So what? Doesn't matter. That Boston team is the most talented team. They are the most talented team in the NBA. They really are. And the Warriors beat them fair and square. Nikola Jokic is a disgusting human being. Come on, man. Really? Would you say that to his face? Why would you say that? It's not like I'm gonna jump through the computer, but why would you say that? Why do you feel that way? Quantify your thoughts. I would say that to his face. Tell me, but why would you say that about him? Why do you feel that way? He annoys me sometimes. As great as he is as a player, sometimes he seems not to care about basketball, or he wants to do other things. And I'm like, go do other things, dude. Go ahead. Now, I think Steve Kerr was a little dramatic, but I'm on board. You're going to give the best player on the court who's shooting basically 2 or 3 feet from the basket 18 fouls, going to go to the line 18 times when he's like kneeing and elbowing people, running into them. That was ridiculous. Part of being a good offensive player is being able to be impervious to contact. And he shot like 3 for 11, so it wasn't like he was doing that anyway. I thought that was terrible. But know what Steve Kerr did? I call it doing a Phil Jack. That's what Phil Jackson used to do when he was the coach of the Chicago Bulls and the LA Lakers. He sat at a podium and gave a speech about how his team was being hurt or not treated fairly and how it was a detriment to the game. That's what Kerr is like General Patton to somebody, man. I mean, this dude is a tactician. He's a strategist. He's always thinking. And that's what he was doing because he knows that he has a team that can compete against the Nuggets and anybody in the Western Conference. And yes, he was right. He shouldn't have called. Nikola Jokic should not have gone to the line 18 times. And think about this. The Warriors were right there, and Clay and Stephen didn't play well. That game, it's going to happen in a week or so. When they play Denver at the Chase Center, that's going to be a hot ticket. And that's going to be an eyeball fest because I think the Warriors want to make a statement in that particular game. The Warriors are good. 15-15 at this point. I've been thinking all day, well, what did I think that they would be after 30 games? I thought maybe 20-10 was not out of the realm of possibility. So they are a little short. And I actually would credit the league, the competition, more than being disappointed at the Warriors. I think the NBA's better. At the top end, they are. So, my thoughts. Glendosha says the Warriors look great in the loss, especially with no Draymond and Curry not having a great game. It will be interesting how Draymond will reintegrate with the team when he comes back. Absolutely. What do you think, Glendosha? Is it absurd to think that Draymond might come off the bench? Do you think you put him in right at the start of his return in the starting lineup? How do you feel about it? And I ask because the only thing that was a little salty was Jonathan Kuminga's comments. And about how, he feels he's unstoppable at this point. And, he can't control his minutes. And, Kerr doesn't like that stuff. Kerr doesn't like players popping off. But I know that there's a level of frustration that Jonathan Kuminga has. I get it. The problem is, though, it's not a team first mentality. It's a me first mentality. Because the reality is, it doesn't take us to watch him score X amount of points to draw a conclusion that he is a player. He thinks, I have to get these stats so everybody know how good I am. No. That's not how basketball is played. That's not how basketball is evaluated. He only has a 5-year contract potentially with the Warriors. He's probably going to sign an extension. Or at the worst case scenario, be traded. But he's going to get his money. He's proven that he deserves to be a $100 million player. Somebody has to run up and down the court. And I think he's proven that he's that dude. He's one of those guys. So I would love to see Steve Kerr and Kuminga have a kumbaya moment because I think it will help the team. A couple of days ago, somebody asked before Christmas, remember when someone asked Steve Kerr about Kuminga? And he almost, it was like, it looked like he was like straining himself to say like really good things about him. And I'm joking, but he goes, I think this is the best stretch of basketball that Jonathan has played in his career. No shit, Steve. We know that. He wasn't effusive in his compliments. Far from effusive. Glendosha says, I think he has to come off the bench. He meaning Draymond. It will only make the bench that much stronger. We cannot mess up this chemistry. Logical. SG, someone should punch Jokic. Come on, man. It'd be interesting, Glendocious, to see if Draymond would be open to that. It really, he came off the bench in the series against Boston when they won the championship. I think he didn't start maybe one game or something like that. I don't think he wants to come off the bench personally, but I get your point. Look what it's done for Wiggins. Wiggins has been outstanding since coming off the bench. He's probably averaging what? He's probably averaging the same amount of points he averaged when he was starting and really not doing anything. He's playing really good basketball. And I think also what Wiggins has done coming off the bench is showed Steve Kerr and the rest of the coaches that he can play with certain guys that maybe they didn't think he could play with. Like the combination of Wiggins and Kuminga on the court sometimes with Kerr, Chris Paul, and even Clay out there, it gives the team so much diversity. Trace Jackson Davis. You put Trace Jackson Davis, Kuminga, Wiggins, Stephen Curry, and CP3 out there, or any combination of Klay Thompson, that's fun to watch and productive. So yeah, I like the strides that the team has made while Draymond has been away, dealing with his challenges, or I guess they're challenges. I would say so. That's not appropriate behavior on the basketball court. So I think there are challenges. SG, I'm not gonna put your comment out there, dude. Give us a sports take, all right? Give us something interesting that we can talk about. How do you guys feel about Brandon Podzinski? I'm on board. I was wrong. But there's something about, Keith, I almost think like the media does him a disservice by just harping on him so much. I don't like it. Very few players get that type of media love. It's just ridiculous. He's playing well. He's a pro. Let him play. Everybody doesn't get that love. And my question is why? Why is he singled out so much? Why? Why is that? I don't like it. I honestly don't like it. It can get real deep. I just said, yo, man, Give him credit for what he's doing. He's going out and he's playing, making great plays, making winning plays. I think that his ability to take charges has really rubbed off on everybody on the team. Moses Moody is taking more charges this year. Stephen Curry is taking more charges this year. The Warriors probably lead the NBA in charges. And I think you would have to point the finger at Brandon Podzinski for that. But let's not go overboard. Let's not single him out as much without singling other people out. It's like, literally, it's similar to Brock Purdy playing with the 49ers. Brock Purdy was given the keys to Daddy's Cadillac, and he's driven it exquisitely. Gets it cleaned every week, puts oil in it, doesn't drive too fast, doesn't rev up the engine. He treats it like it's his own. Respect that. Brandon Podzinski has come into probably the best run NBA organization in the league, with some of the most professional superstars in the league. And they like him, and they put him in a position to be successful. I love it. But the media needs to turn it down, man. Turn it down. I don't like it. Because everybody doesn't get that love. Cause he's white. Ha ha. The league needs more American white players to get excited about. He has potential to be very good. Sure he does. How good can he become? I mean, I don't focus on players' gender, but I do. But I did notice that you know how much I love Dante DiVincenzo. Dante DiVincenzo is white. I love him. I love how he plays. He got that swag. They didn't do that to Dante. Why not? Why not? If Brandon Podzinski can become Dante DiVincenzo, he's going to have a hell of a career. I tell you that. And you might even tell me, yo, Red, he could be better than Dante. Really? I love Dante. Love him. I could be his teammate any day of the week. And he's playing for my Knicks too. Had 5 threes last game. I mean, like I'll give you another example. And I don't know if it's, here's where there's like that intersection of stuff. You know, because some of these cats act kind of differently. Like Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero got some of that swag juice on him, right? And because of the media and Portland, you had everybody thinking that Tyler Hero was like some bum or something. Tyler Hero is outstanding. I argued for 24 hours straight. If the Portland should have took that deal. If Tyler Hero was on the Portland Trailblazers now, I think they'd be better. I don't want to hear how many guards they have, and they got Simons, and they got this guy. I don't care. Tyler Hero is a bucket. A bucket. And people walk around like this guy's a complete scrub. He's not a scrub. And his $30 million a year, whatever he makes, 20, so whatever he makes, it's going to be a very reasonable contract in another year or two. I think Portland screwed up. I think they should have taken the deal and sent Dame to Miami and got some picks and some other players. Tyler Hero is big time. He don't get the love for whatever reason. He don't get it. San Jose got absolutely wrecked by Coastal Carolina by the score of 24-14. and the easy pulls Hawaii. Yeah, I saw that. I'm a big fan of San Jose State. San Jose State football is 0-3 in bowl games. They lost to teams such as, yeah, you know what? Hey, they got there. Give them credit. They got there. I'm big on Boise, on San Jose State. I mean, since I've been following that team, finally, they've upgraded their facilities. They are getting 3- and 4-star recruits out of high school. Or if a 5-star quarterback or DB or whomever wants to go to a cool part of the country and maybe get some NIL money, San Jose State is not a laughing stock anymore. They're not. I want to big up their athletic program. This is no lie. When I played for Fordham a couple of years ago, we came out to the West Coast and we played against San Jose State. We beat San Jose State by 35 points. It's embarrassing. We beat San Jose State so bad, their fans were cheering for us. And they actually started a like a fan club for one of the guys on my team. San Jose State's come a long way from that point. They got a nice athletic program. Want to big them up. This week, the Warriors have the Dallas Mavericks coming to town. That's going to be interesting to see them play the Mavericks also. They got Denver. They got the Mavericks. Two really, really good games. Two good teams. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're playing home because it definitely increases their opportunity to win. But they're playing against some juggernauts. For the first time, I'm really starting to see Luka's ability to impact not only his game, but his teammates' play. And Dallas is interesting. I mean, I know J. Kidd, been known J. Kidd for a long period of time. His mentality, been around him a long time. That dude's a flat-out winner. So keep your eye on the Dallas Mavericks because they're playing better basketball right now. They really are. In ways that I don't think they've done in the past, even though they made it to the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago against the Golden State Warriors. Another note that I made was Kevin Durant. You might consider this hyperbole, but on the outside looking in, not knowing all of the variables on the inside, Kevin Durant leaving the Golden State Warriors seems like the worst basketball, I'm not going to say the worst business decision, but it seems like one of the worst decisions that's ever been made in sports. Now, I'm jumping off the cliff and making that statement, and Kevin can say, listen, dude, you don't know the criteria that I had for what I wanted my career to be. And I would have to say, you know what, dude, you're right. I don't know that. But aesthetically, if you just keep it basketball, it looks like one of the worst decisions that's ever been made in sports. Because the system was perfect. I've never seen Kevin Durant work so hard to score baskets. He's still really good. But he doesn't impact the game like he did when he was on Golden State. Draymond had him playing top-tier defense. He barely ever had to go against double teams. Barely ever. How many championships would have Golden State had won had Kevin stayed here? I'm going to say at least 2. He'd be a 4-time NBA champion now, I think. And Stephen would have, 5? Draymond would have 5? Kevin would have 4. I'm watching the Phoenix Suns. I don't care when Bradley Beal comes back. That team is not going to be great. Maybe a little better than 500. I'm going to tell you why. Every team that is good and is a serious championship contender has a defensive juggernaut. Don't tell me that your defensive juggernaut, Phoenix, is Josh Okogie. He won't even start when all of your pieces are there. You don't have not one all-defensive player in your starting lineup? Not one? And you're going to challenge for a championship? I don't think so. Not going to happen. It will not happen. The Denver Nuggets have multiple. Caldwell Pope is an all-defensive guard. Aaron Gordon is an all-defensive power forward. They got two of the best defenders in the NBA in their starting lineup. They're both two-way players. The Golden State Warriors, I'm going to still say they have Draymond Green and they got Klay Thompson. You know, they got Andrew Wiggins. They got guys who can play. So, do I feel sorry for Kevin? No, I don't feel sorry for him. That's his decision. But what's funny to me is how fans are alarmed. What's wrong with Phoenix? Phoenix, they're 500. They're not winning. When are all their pieces going to come? They basically they barely run an offense. I mean, they're fun to watch, but you're not going to outscore teams. You're going to stop good teams from scoring. SG says, who do you have winning the 2024 Rose Bowl between Alabama and Michigan from the Rose Bowl Stadium, Pasadena? Man, I hate this matchup because I love both programs. Big Nick Saban guy. I love the kookiness, the kooky brilliance of Jim Harbaugh. Love it. But in a bowl game such as the Rose Bowl, where you're going to have pristine weather, Michigan is not built to play against Alabama. I think Alabama's going to light it up. And I just don't think Michigan can score with them. I don't think they can. So, I don't want to see a blowout. I want to see a 31-28, 38-20, 38-31 type of game. I want to see that. But I think Alabama's going to come out on top. I think Alabama's going to win the national championship. I do. Great question, SG. I got some quick hitters. The Detroit Pistons lost, their 25th game in a row? These are grown men. This is not like the Harlem Globetrotters. Well, they won all the time, but it's not the Washington Generals. These are grown men who get paid millions of dollars, who are looking like the Washington Generals, and a coach who has an $80 million contract. Do I feel sorry for? No, but I have compassion for him. I can't imagine losing 25 games in a row. Mr. Graves, how you doing, sir? Thank you for stepping in, brother. Is it 25 or 26? How many games in a row have they lost? And I heard Austin Reeves, who I think has a bright career as a analyst, talking on ESPN. Although, if I'm Austin, I know Austin's like, yo, let me squeeze a couple of more years out of the league. I can do this in my sleep. Make good bread, but I'm not making the bread that I'd make if I was playing. You know? Get back in the league, Austin. Hopefully you will, brother. But he made a great point. Austin said, at this point, nobody wants to lose to Detroit. So even when Detroit tries to ramp up their energy and go out and play as hard as they can, the opposition is playing even harder. And I had never thought about that, because when I watched Detroit play, I often felt that maybe they was not the team that was playing the hardest. And my mentality as a coach is like, yo, dude, we got to go out there. We got to do everything to put ourselves in a position to win. Getting loose balls, 50-50 balls, boxing out, doing all of those things. But Austin really broke it down and put it in the proper perspective. Nobody wants to lose to Detroit now. Nobody. Mark says, anyone who is competitive doesn't want to lose that many games in a row. I mean, I can't even imagine that. I can't. I coached a high school team once. And I know, I think I've told the story before, but the first year we were like 3-23, and we didn't win a league game. The first year we were 0-12 in league, 0-12, and then the following year it came down to two teams, us and another team. We lost in overtime to this other team that was pretty bad as well. And they beat us that second year. And the second time that we played them, the last game of the year, we still had not won a league game. We beat them. I mean, talk about jubilation. The third year, we were in the NCS playoffs. And in fact, I'm not bragging, but the school had never gone to the high school playoffs before. In a 10-year history, they had never gone to the playoffs. And I coached this team from not winning a league game in year 1 to year 3, we were in the NCS. Yeah. And we had a record of, 14-11, 15-11, something like that. But we made it to the playoffs as an at-large bid. But just kind of going through that process of every day creating a different scenario that could build my players up to get them to go out and compete was one of the most exhilarating experiences that I've ever had in sports. And I even reach back on those memories when things are not going great for me. Monty Williams got to be running out of stories. And I don't think he's going anywhere. $80 million contract, guaranteed. SG said 26. Wow. Stephen Curry is considered a modern day Harlem Globetrotter. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. I feel lucky to be alive to have watched him play live. I really do. What a joy. What a joy. One of the things I really appreciated this year, and I've talked about this, is watching Bryce Young play for the Carolina Panthers. He's had little to no success. Talk about a leader, though. That dude has not blinked. He's not a big guy. He's got beat up. And, I mean, he has been nothing but professional. I have so much respect for Bryce Young. And I think ultimately he's going to prove people wrong. He's going to be a good quarterback. But that guy's taken an absolute beating this year and has not blinked at all. I'm so impressed with him. Mark Gray says Meadowlark Lemon was the best. He was. All of those guys were showmen, right? They were great showmen. I love that. But yeah. Also Justin Fields. How do y'all feel about Justin Fields? I mean, sometimes in Justin's pressers, he can get a little salty. Like, like I'm really tired of people taking shots at me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, don't feel sorry for yourself. You're a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think it would be a mistake for Chicago to cut bait with him or trade him, because I think that he's made some strides. He had a good year last year, kind of got off to a slow start. He needs a good team around him. And I'm not saying that Chicago can't be the team to continually build the pieces to help him become his best self. But I think the potential is there. And a lot of organizations are just not patient. You got to be patient. You got to be teach. You have to teach. You have to be patient. Think about Green Bay with Jordan Love now. It's a hell of a lot cheaper, a lot more profitable to kind of ride that roller coaster with him to get to the point where he looks like he can actually get to the finish line than going out in free agency and paying a gazillion dollars to a quarterback. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. You either want to, Brock Purdy your way to success or draft a quarterback in, top 3 rounds and develop that guy. So those are some names that I'm looking at. I also I listen to sports talk radio, and hey man, I want everybody to win. But sometimes I listen to people particularly late at night because I don't sleep a lot. And some of these cats, you would think that they would be okay with indentured servitude. I heard this one person, literally going on forever about how bad NIL is. Come on. And how it's ruining the sanctity of college football. The game is not the same now. I used to love college football, but now the players are getting paid. Stop it. Stop. How much money are these coaches and these universities making? How much? They should have had NIL 30, 40 years ago. Doesn't change the game one bit. I literally would love to know where those feelings come from. What is it about people being paid for their services? Well, they get a college degree. Yeah. Well, they get a chance to go to college. Yeah, they do. It doesn't equate to the money that's being made by the organizations, though. It has nothing to do with work ethic. Zero. I was thinking today, I was saying to myself, how many people do we have who listen to the In the Dungeon show who make a pretty good buck? And if you make decent money, I make decent money. Does that have any connection to how much money I made when I was 13 working as a caddy? No, zero. When I first got into sports talk radio, the first year that I worked in sports talk radio, I hosted a show. I was rated. I was in the top 10 my first year. I got paid zero. I made no money. No money. And I didn't care. It was one of the happiest times of my life. Eventually, I started making money. I got paid. But the first year, I did not get paid. I didn't care. It's not about the money. about work ethic. It's about what you're doing. It's about love of what you're doing. And, you know, to hear people talk about vigorously trying to find ways to take opportunities and money from student athletes, young men and young women, to me, it's sad. It's sad and it's asinine. And it says something about you. Are you jealous? 19-year-olds should not be driving a fancy car. Why not? You can't throw a football 100 yards. If you could, you'd be making that too. You know, the guy has a Tesla. Yeah, I don't have a 40-inch vertical. You don't either. Embrace change, dude. Embrace change. You know, don't draw conclusions that are not based in fact. And be happy for these young people. This has been in the works for 30, 40 years. I love NIL. I love it. I love the fact that players can leave and go somewhere else. I love it. It isn't like you can go to another university unless you're academically eligible. I think it's great for football. I think it's great for sports. It's not great for me because I don't know the names of the new players. I have to do more research. But I'm all about opportunity, man. I'm all about opportunity. So 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm listening to people talking about how this is the worst thing in the world. Please. No, it's not. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions need to lose so that the 49ers can clinch #1 seed if they beat the Commanders. I don't think that's right. I think if the 49ers win out, they have home field advantage. They beat Philly and they beat Dallas. All the teams are 11-4. That's wrong information, brother. All right. I want to talk a little bit about the movie that I saw, Ferrari. I love movie making. I mean, and I was thinking about this before I came on air. If you had an opportunity to do something else, what would you do? I think maybe movie making would be something that I would want to spend my time doing. I just love the process of telling stories. So Ferrari is about a guy by the name of Enzo Ferrari. And the story takes place in the late 1950s when the foreign car industry is just really starting to take off worldwide, particularly in parts of the world where people can pay for expensive cars. And Enzo Ferrari apparently has a wife who has a lot of money. And she's played by Penelope Cruz. I'm not going to give a whole lot away, but basically his goal is to legitimize Ferrari. And there are other car manufacturers who are also bidding to gain prominence in the automotive industry. And ultimately, they have to position themselves to, like financiers, to show that they are worthy of an investment. We know how the story winds up because Ferrari has been in effect for so many years and has so much prominence around the world. But there is another story that takes place involving Ferrari that it's interesting. I'll just say it's interesting. It has nothing to do with cars, but it has to do with the complicated life that he led. What is brilliant is the engineering. Enzo Ferrari was a brilliant engineer. He had a vision of what he thought could make great cars, make beautiful and great cars. And he was unapologetic about showcasing his cars. And whomever said that they wanted to be one of his drivers, you knew you were putting your life on the line. And I think internally there was grief, there was sadness when tragedies happened, when this industry was evolving. But the fact that you signed up for this opportunity, you knew what the danger was. And they walked with that. And he walked with that. And publicly, it was almost like, this is what it is. That was very evident. And it just made me think about all of the sacrifices that were made to build these industries up. And race car drivers get killed today, you know? So that was interesting. For some reason, it made me think about the Golden Gate Bridge, of how many people died building the Golden Gate Bridge. So, shot beautifully. You learn a lot about engineering and about cars. I recommend Ferrari. And with that said, I think that there was some loose ends that Michael Mann didn't tie up. Maybe he had his reasons why, but I recommend it. Good movie. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a solid 8. And I would give Adam Driver, who played Enzo Ferrari, I'm going to give him a 10. And I think that he will get a nomination. He was excellent. And I got a theory about Adrian Driver, too. I said, well, why is this guy such a great actor? And I'm going to tell you why. It sucks, but I think it's true. There's so many brilliant actors, right? But the fact that Adam Driver is tall, I think gives him an advantage, because most actors are short. You know, they're brilliant, but they're short. Adam Driver has this imposing type of presence when he steps on screen. And he has the acting chops of his contemporaries. So there's not many guys in Adam Driver's age group that has his level of touch and texture when it comes to acting. If some of you guys saw the movie Marriage about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, he was phenomenal in Marriage as well. This guy is a brilliant actor. He really is. SG says, thoughts on Sean King, known for his social media advocacy on moments such as Black Lives Matter, and his account was banned on Christmas Eve. I don't really have any thoughts on him. I know who he is. I haven't followed him as closely. If you could talk about something specifically that I'm aware of, then I'll comment. Mark says, sounds like an interesting movie. I have to check it out. Yes, sir, Mr. Graves. SG. Enzo Ferrari was born in Italy and died in Italy. Okay. You should watch the movie Ford vs. Ferrari, which is also an awesome movie. Yeah, I haven't. Yeah. You said you mentioned that before. Maybe I'll check it out. Yeah, Mark. You know, one of the things that I think is kind of an offshoot to like kind of talking about sports is really telling stories. I love film, and to be able to share my thoughts because I go to a lot of movies. I saw the Iron Claw also. I'm gonna do a little more research. I touched on it, I think, the last time that I did a show, but I didn't do it in the detail that I want to. I think that's an excellent movie as well. So, you guys can feel the energy. The energy's back. I am feeling fantastic, and I'm gonna go another 10 minutes. I mean, we've done an hour and 20 minutes. It feels like 30. That's how much fun it's been. Anybody got any questions for me? You want to know anything? Ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be hesitant. Don't hold back. That's part of this as well. How was your Christmas? My Christmas was great. It was kind of like done on Christmas Eve. I have a friend, and I went to a nice dinner with my friend and her mom. A little kind of a highbrow restaurant for me, but it was awesome, man. Her mom is at an advanced age, and I get juiced whenever I'm in her presence because she obviously has the value of history, and all of her faculties are strong and beautiful. I mean, awesome time, man. I had a great time, and I cook for them sometimes. Cooking is something else that I like to do that I'm pretty decent at. So I spent time cooking and delivering food to people who I care about, and just watching sports. I had a great time. I had an awesome time. I was in the hospital for 3 days. I got out of the hospital in time for Christmas. So, man, Mark, my Christmas was outstanding. How was yours? How was your Christmas? Yes, I know. Adam Driver is a veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps. Yes, I know. Yep. Yes. So I had a great Christmas. Missed my family. My family's on in a different part of the country, but I took solace in the fact that I could spend some time with some friends and not wanting for anything, and just had a great time. Anybody else? Any other questions? Got a couple of minutes. Mark Graves says, mine was good and also took a lot of sports. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah, sports is a big part of my life. While I'm doing it, I'm not. I don't gamble, so I'm not focused on it when I'm not doing it. I'm focused on whatever else I'm doing at that particular time. But I think I'm going to be writing some songs over the next couple of days. I'm excited about that. Writing some songs, and I'm reading a book of somebody who I'm going to interview on my show as well. Great book, and you'll hear more about that. But yeah, I got some interesting little personal projects that I'll be doing over the next week or so. SG says, before becoming a famous actor, Adam Driver was a Marine. He turned 18 just 2 months after terrorists, and said the attacks motivated him to serve. Good for him. Good for him. A lot of times I don't particularly like when, actors or famous people acknowledge, those parts of their life, because it kind of, being contrived or not, it adds to the narrative. And once they become famous or they did this or that. And, I think about people who do things to serve other people that people never know about. Their contribution shouldn't be diminished because they're not famous, right? So, I think that people who are famous or actors are not any less genuine. I don't have any reason to believe that. But I think that when it becomes a part of their narrative and who they are, it can kind of seem a little contrived. And when you really do things because you want to do them, I'm sure that's not what you want your actions or your contributions to represent. Hope all is good with your health. Yeah, hopefully listening to this particular show, you can feel how healthy I am. I feel fantastic right now. I really do. But I did have a couple of blood transfusions, 3, as a matter of fact. So I'm learning a lot about medicine, my body, and so on and so forth. But I feel fantastic right now. I really do. And thank you for asking. And I started the show off by asking people to listen to their bodies and just kind of like casually talking about how some men and women are different in this way. I think women are more in tune to their bodies and more likely to seek out information, go to the doctors than men are. And we need to change that narrative. We really do, because you rather be too early than too late. And we might think that we're supermen, but we're not. We're not. So to be able to use this forum, use this show in a way that can be entertaining, but also informative, is the goal that I set when I said I wanted to do a sports talk show online. Sports is the umbrella, but this is really about life. It's about helping each other and building relationships and sharing information and inspiring each other to be our best selves. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I appreciate it. Maybe I'll do a show after a Warrior game this week. Definitely, I'm going to do one on Sunday, but I'll probably be on before then. All right. Everybody be safe. Enjoy the holidays. Remember, there's no better joy than to give somebody something and see the response that they have that's genuine and loving. It's awesome that we have the ability to do that. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to get out of here. All right. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. My name is Frank Red. What's up? How you doing? Hit me up on X at Big Frank Red, at X on Big Frank Red if you don't follow me. If you're listening to the In the Dungeon show for the first time or you have not subscribed, hit that like button. It does help build the audience and the algorithm. I appreciate it. I'm not somebody who promotes it all the time, but it does help. And thank you. I appreciate y'all. Good night, everybody. Peace.